buckling, South Point Boulevard, I assume that it was, that's number one. Number two, we had trouble with Morgan Road. Paving company did come in, but we're having trouble with it again, he said. And that's Mr. Ludwig said it. On School Hill, you're aware as well as I am about the problem with the curb that was put there. And I think that there was an additional charge of around $1,000 from Gateway because of what Frank Ludwig insisted be done, and was a problem. And then finally, and probably the most egregious of all, is what happened on Grange Road. He said that he insisted they only make one pass, and as a result of making one pass, the road is too narrow. We spent a fortune putting stone down, and it shouldn't have been done that way, but that's what he said to do. And now what's going to happen when all the water goes down through that stone? The whole road is going to come up. Now, how much is this costing Cecil Township, the taxpayers of Cecil Township? That's the problem, Kim.
I wasn't even aware of who was taking the decision. My question is, are they qualified to be doing this? Do they hold the proper paperwork? Who is going to be liable for these decisions?
In the way I understand it is what Mr. Ledwin is doing. He doesn't need to have a certificate, any certificate in anything to do this.
At the end of the day, Gateway is responsible. They are taking responsibility for the roads.
So if Frank would make a decision and it wasn't right, it would go to Gateway.
No, wait, I want Dan to say that. Don't speak for him. Dan, are you going to take the responsibility for the problems with these roads? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm sorry, I have to.
I think that we can keep Mr. Ludwin's capacity related to the items that he will be looking at, that there will not be issues. We had a couple minor issues. You always have minor issues with on jobs. My point is we can't have one person be everywhere. If you have another set of eyes out there, it's a benefit to the project. We work in varying capacities in different communities. Some people lay all of the responsibility on us. Some people want to use their own people. Some people, we just put the program out for bid and they take it over. I mean, we can work it.
Are you going to be responsible?
You know what, a yes or a no would be real simple.
Are you going to, I'm done.
I have a question related to that, and then you can. Will you let everybody know here, though, that if Mr. Ludwin doesn't do it, that we would need a second engineer? This is why this is important, and I know you.
And we should.
Microphone.
Somebody qualified.
At approximately $82 per hour versus Mr. Ludwin's 20.
We should have someone who's qualified. Dan, you didn't answer my question. I'm sorry to do this to you, but are you willing to take the
Yes or no?
responsibility for South Point Boulevard?
So are you asking me that if Mr. Ludwin does something in error, instructs the contractor to do something contrary to our decision, is that our responsibility? Is that what you're really asking me?
That's part of it, yes.
I think that's part of the partnership of working with the township. We work together. We don't stand alone. Ultimately, the workmanship on the road is the responsibility of the contractor. He provides the bonds. He provides the insurance. He is the one that personally guarantees. They guarantee the workmanship.
How long are they bonded?
Our requirement is 2 years at 50% of the value of the contract.
Now, Dan, did they put in South Point Boulevard according to the specifications the Gateway gave us?
Yes, they did.
So,
Then there's a problem.
Well, you know what?
But there is a problem, and he was the inspector on it, and he's the one that said there was a problem. And
Gee, I should have applied for this. I'm the one that got Birch Way straightened out when nobody else was there watching. Pictures and everything.
I believe that we're saving taxpayers money by having Gateway being responsible and doing the work, and not one of our people on this board.
okay, is there any other comments on what's on the agenda tonight? Okay. Go ahead.
Hi everyone. I'm going to start inviting you guys for dinner. I'm Linda Cronin, 117 Consola Drive, and we're still dealing with this Rosewood Park plan and the closure. And so I've been in little contact with some of the Dawn and everything. So what's going on with it? What's actually You know, they moved the Petersburg Borough employees moved the road closure signs and actually hemmed in Mohammed's driveway so he couldn't get through. And then they broke one of our pieces of equipment. So we're still fooling around with that stuff, and there is still cars coming through when he doesn't block the access to the road.
I know this has been an ongoing problem, and I don't know if Dan or John's not here tonight. I don't know if you have wanted to comment at all on this,
Is
but
it going to be here? Is it going to be here?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Is John going to be here later on? He said he was going to try to make it as well.
He may.
So
Yeah, he'd pretty
we
much.
do have to discuss some litigation about this possibly in executive session tonight. I can't go into details on that, but we are still addressing it.
Okay, so I'm just coming just to present it to see if there's anything else, because sometimes I'm not getting the information. I'm not complaining, I'm just saying sometimes something happens and you can, you know, so I'm just not saying I'm not getting it, but I'm just coming to address it to see what's going on. And so your executive session, what happens with that? So you discuss it and then what?
And then we decide if there's any action to be taken.
Okay,
After we talk to the attorney and stuff to see exactly which way we feel it should happen. All
okay,
details have to be discussed.
okay, all right.
So we're not letting it drop. That's what I wanted to tell you.
Yeah, I know that
We're
you're
still
not,
working
yes.
on it, but
Yeah, I've been in contact. It's just a tricky situation and it looks dire for us. So I'm just hoping that, you know, it doesn't occur that way, but, you know, I don't think it's looking good, but.
it is a subject coming up in executive session at
Okay.
the meeting tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Frank Agizio, 24 Sycamore Street, Muse. In reference to this assistant paving inspecting job, I think Frank's track record speaks for itself. He has no NESEP certification. In the fall of 2012, truckload after truckload of asphalt was wasted on paving a half-inch thick layer of top coat on Grange Road, which he so happens to live on. This was to be scheduled to be paved in the early summer months of 2013. Okay? All was needed was to patch the potholes to get through the winter months. This was a huge waste of taxpayer dollars. The half-inch leveling course cracked up and was removed when snow plows would go over. Another blunder, Lawrence 2nd and 3rd Street Alley. The road was sloped the wrong way, causing flooding in the residence yard. The township has to now install and inlet 150 to 200 feet of storm sewer
According
pipe.
to our rules and regulations, I mean, you don't need to be calling him blunders and attacking him like this. If you want to have some questions about how things were done, fine. But don't be attacking one of the supervisors.
I'm just stating facts, Andy. Okay, let me finish.
Well, state whatever facts you want, but don't be calling it blunders and blaming it on him.
Well, everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes myself, you know? Okay?
So why call them out right now?
Well, you're considering this man for assistant paving inspector in the township. I want to qualify NESEP certified paving inspector in the township. Okay?
There will be a paving inspector that's qualified that works with Gateway. All we're asking and having Frank as there is to have another set of eyes. When it comes to technical questions, Gateway will be responsible for them. But Gateway has said themselves, one inspector is not enough. So
It is enough.
So listen,
It is enough, Cindy.
yeah, Mr.
I've been doing this for 35 years, okay? I eat, sleep, and live the Lake Blacktop, okay? I can tell you anything you want to know about it. I've worked hand in hand 35 years with Gateway inspectors. They're some of the best inspectors out there. You don't need to inspect milling, line painting, sealing of edges. It's a waste of taxpayers' dollars.
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Sure.
Will you agree that Gateway would probably send, if Mr. Ledwin does not...
Microphone, please.
Gateway will send more than one inspector to keep the eyes on the job.
There will be multiple contracts, and depending upon when the contractors work and the scheduling, there would be possibly a need for another inspector on the job.
Now, if Mr. Ludwin does and is part of this process, Gateway would more than likely only use one inspector, correct?
That would be the plan, yes.
The
We
plan
don't
is
need to inspect milling, line painting, sealing, Cindy. I do this every day, okay? You need to be there and inspect paving, okay?
Mr.
But Frank, one of the things that we find that's important on a job is just having people out there if there's questions and issues. And if the contractors are out doing the milling, that's usually when there's a commotion going on, there's people stuck in their driveway, they can't get out. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on at that onset of the job.
That's on the contractor, Dan.
I
We
understand.
do that every day.
I
You know, the
understand.
foreman, that's his responsibility. The foreman running that road crew that day has to do that, not a township official.
Well, but it's important to have, for the residents, it's important to have somebody there. I find it's important to be in good communication with what's going on the job. Because people are calling here to the township, want to know what's going on, and if nobody's out there representing the township, that can be an issue.
Dan, all the residents should have received a letter prior to the notice to proceed to work on that roadway, okay? That's what needs to happen.
Okay, do you have anything else now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, since you interrupted me. Okay.
Well,
Lawrence Street, 2nd and 3rd Street, Elliott Road was sloped the wrong way, causing flooding in a resident's yard. The township has to now install an inlet and 150 to 200 feet of storm sewer pipe to correct this mistake. Very costly. Who pays? The taxpayers of Cecil Township. He's abused the position, as I said before, of inspecting milling, line painting, sealing joints and edges of pavement. He borrowed a golf cart from South Point Country Club, rode up and down the roads on that. He's currently seeking to buy a used paver, which is the wrong type of paver to use for municipal streets or alleyways. This would be a huge downgrade, and I repeat, a huge downgrade from the paver we currently own. Frank, if you do know paving, why would you want to buy a little small wheelbase track paver?
Mr. Egizio.
That's enough.
With these fault findings, there is no way this individual should be considered for roadmaster, let alone demand the wages of a certified asphalt field technician.
What
Okay,
we,
There was no top put down on Grange Road the year before. Don can verify it, and so can,
I rode
Okay.
to these residents'
All
house.
right, now,
I've never been
you're
on
not at the podium anymore, we're not going to accept comments from the floor. Frank, sit down. Now, is there anybody else that wants to stand up and have anything to say? Is there anybody else that has something to say? Sit down, Mr. Egizio, please. You have to be at the podium at the top, but we're going to move on to the next. Is there anybody else?
Are we still on the agenda? Or
The agenda, we can talk about anything now, if there's no more on the agenda.
Cindy, I understand you called Kim's house talking about the FSA, HSA issue.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that?
Remember I said, did you compare and
she had
you were
asked,
asking?
Mr. Januso let me know that Dave had called about waste management, so I called to find out, as I've done to a number of residents, find out what exactly their concerns were. She had asked if I would look into the FSA, HSA issue. To be honest, I have not had the opportunity to do that. So yes, that was the end of the conversation, but that was not the reason for the call.
I mean, you kind of agreed that
That I would look into.
your personal, whatever you guys put out personally is not in line with what we do here in the building, correct?
We do have very expensive insurance, if that's what you're
Okay.
asking, but I don't, yes.
So when are we going to look into this?
I have not had, to be honest, I have not had the opportunity. I
When-
just spoke with her at the end of last week.
Let me make a comment.
But
Don, is this?
I will do that.
Is this something that even needs to be brought up? Because I think the insurance is going to have to change down the road, correct?
I think, yeah, July 1st, didn't you say that in the last meeting?
Excuse me, that's correct, because of
That's why we were bringing it up.
implementations with this, within Obamacare, we will have to change our plan. Highmark is doing away with all of the named plans that they have now, and there will be subtle differences within services provided. So, yes, before the July renewal, the township will have to.
I will look
I
into
think
it
there's
before
gonna be-
July.
There's going to be some changes that have to be made coming up.
So, Dawn, I understood you to say at the last meeting that the HSA was going to be a lump